Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Liberated Woman. I am so pleased that you are joining me once again on this podcast to tune into your feminine wisdom and to really start to think about things that maybe have been percolating in your mind, in your body, in your soul, in your essence, but you just need to hear that message today. In today's episode, I'm going to be diving into the 3 things that I have stopped doing in order to love myself a little bit deeper. And I'm hoping that by sharing the things that I have been doing in my own life and in my own healing journey, in my own liberation journey, in my journey to becoming a more awakened, liberated, and sovereign woman, that this will inspire you and help you in your journey to becoming a wild, liberated, sovereign woman who knows her worth, who can hold her boundaries, who can express her needs, speak her truth, and come into alignment of the truth of who you really are in this lifetime so that you can live your life in the most divine and joyous and pleasurable way. Because after all, we didn't come to this planet to suffer all our lives. We came here to evolve and to expand and to become this liberated soul, this liberated being that gets to choose and live life on your terms, even when it feels like everything else around you might be created to stop you from doing that. So in my healing journey, I've had many different paths and avenues and facets that have come into play. And with each of these, I've really had to learn to navigate and ride the waves, ride the storm, and sometimes sit really deeply in the shit in order to alchemize that and turn it into my evolution, turn it into my growth, turn it into my expansion, and ultimately turn it into my gold, because that's where the power truly lies. And one of the things that I found myself doing a lot, especially from a place of being in my wounded feminine, was comparing myself to other people. Now, this is something that you've probably been doing too all your life, because as I've spoken about in previous episodes, women have always been pitted against one another, always been put in a place of mistrust, betrayal, and competition in order to succeed or to feel like we are better than. And ultimately, that comes from a very wounded place of trying to find safety, of trying to find our place in the world and trying to feel safe. But on this journey of comparison, they say comparison is the thief of joy, right? And I really believe that to be true, because as soon as we start to take ourselves out of our own energy field, our own lane, and start to look around us at what other people are doing and start to compare our journey to their journey, then we start to really talk to ourselves in a very negative way that actually deeply affects your levels of self-worth. It affects your levels of self-love, and it can literally swipe you sideways and take you completely off course. So imagine that you are driving to a particular destination and you have that destination in your mind, and say that destination is that you would like to call in a loving, divine, conscious partnership that feels really safe, really grounded, and really protected. And you are staying in your lane and you're trying to cultivate that, and you're working on your own inner child, and you're looking at your shadows, and you're going on a healing journey around perhaps why you don't trust the masculine, or where men have let you down in your life. Or if you're looking for a relationship with a woman where women have let you down in your life, where you've been betrayed by the feminine. And you're on this journey and you're really deeply in it, and then you just scroll on your phone and you see somebody having the most wonderful weekend with their partner, having a loving time, really embracing each other. And you have two choices in that moment. You are either inspired by their situation and it provides you with a space of optimism and hope that if it's possible for them, it's possible for you. Or you go into a shaming spiral and a comparative spiral, and you start to go down and down and down and go, well, I've been doing all this work. Why isn't it happening for me? And in that moment, you are literally stopping the potential for your journey, because you cannot compare your journey to somebody else's. You also don't know what they had to go through in order to call in that loving relationship, or at least that's what it seems on the surface if you've seen it on social media. If it's a friend of yours or somebody that you know and you know the depths of the relationship, rather than comparing yourself to them and thinking, why don't I have this? And I really want this, and feeling a lack of hope, feeling a lack of positivity or inspiration towards where this journey could take you, and the fact that you too could have the same sort of loving, conscious, divine partnership that you are calling in. When you go into a place of lack and scarcity and bitterness and resentment and jealousy, you are literally telling the universe that you aren't actually ready for the thing that you desire, because your energy is flowing into the spaces where there is void, where there is lack, where there is scarcity, where ultimately lives fear. And it's a really, really low vibrational energy. Now, it's easy to say that. It's easy to say, well, just be happy for them and celebrate them and, look at their wonderful achievement. That is something that I really want in my life, that I'm trying to call in. But if you can then turn that around and see that success and celebrate them and honor them from a place of sister to sister, from a place of sacredness, from a place of honoring that, hey, they took this journey and look what they've brought into their life. And if they can do it, then so can I. And when you start to come from that vibration, you are literally telling the universe, the energy field, like, I'm ready for this too. I'm ready. I'm open. Bring him to me now, or bring her to me now. Bring them to me now. Like, I'm ready. Let's call this in. And you are open then to possibilities rather than shutting it down from a place of fear and scarcity. So although on my journey, comparison has been a big thing for me, and I've definitely found myself jealous of other people, of other women, even of other men, I've had to do a lot of work on extracting like where my shame lies and trying to cultivate a sense of celebration and success for those people, because there's no way that I can talk about being in a sacred sisterhood and supporting each other if I'm then jealous of that person. It's okay to feel the jealousy. It's okay to acknowledge it and witness it, but it's not okay to then sit and stew in it and compare yourself to them and go into a place of bitterness, because as I said, it just becomes this downward spiral that brings you into a place of fear and scarcity and lack. And from that place, you're definitely not calling in the thing that you desire. One of the ways that I've done that is to put my phone out of the bedroom by a certain time. I switch it off, I leave it, and I do not check it first thing in the morning, because the last thing that I want to do when I wake up is to outsource my power from the wounded feminine and look at what other people are doing and call that energy directly into my life first thing in the morning. So instead, I focus on my own vision, my own goals. What is it that I want to call in? What is it that I truly desire? And then when I've got that clarity for the day, and I'm bringing that into my field, and I'm journaling about it, and I'm doing some tapping on it, and I'm moving my body, and I'm calling it in, and I'm looking at my gratitude of what I already have. When I do look at somebody else, rather than comparing myself, I'm then able to be inspired and go, well, great, if they can do it, it's definitely possible for me, right? We're all human. We all have these possibilities. We tend to shut down the possibilities for ourselves. We self-sabotage from our place of wounding because we think we don't deserve it, or because we think we're not worthy of it, or because the more that we think that, the more it's going to be shown to us. And I've started to notice where I compare and notice where I might have jealousy. and just witness it and say, thank you so much for bringing that to my attention. Thank you so much for showing me that, because that shows me where I want to be inspired. That shows me where I actually want to go. And I know that I can get there. And then I can come back to my own vision, my own goals, and get clearer and clearer and clearer and clearer about where it is that I want to go, with knowing that my journey is not the same as somebody else's. So that's the first thing that I've been working on and I'm stopping doing in order to love myself a little bit deeper. The second thing that I've been working on a lot through my healing journey is truly learning to tune into and listen to my body. So for years, if you listen to my first episode about my awakening journey, you'll know that I spent absolutely years living in a freeze trauma response out of a post-traumatic stress from situations that I'd found myself in that caused me to shut down and freeze and be overwhelmed and unable to access my body or even trust my body. So this has been a really deep journey for me. And it started with breath work. It started with me going to a breathwork facilitator and having sessions myself to try and somatically unlock the deep cellular memory trauma that kept me in a freeze response. So I started with breath work, and it took me quite a few sessions to actually start to access my body, to listen to my body, and to start to release from my body, knowing that it was actually safe to do so in that space. And if it was safe for me to do that in that space, it was safe for me to tune into my body in other spaces. So I started to go to ecstatic dance. And at the beginning, I felt so uncomfortable. I was like, oh, there's no way I can dance like the other women. And then I started to compare myself, which was again, this like stopping myself from loving myself deeper, because I was at the beginning of my awakening journey. I was deep, deep, deep in the shifts and the transformations, and it felt really uncomfortable as well as exciting. But there was no way I could compare myself at that point to women who had been on this journey way longer than me and who felt way more confident in their body, because I just wasn't there. I wasn't there at that point. And when I go to these ecstatic dances, I'd ask intentionally, like, help me to let go, help me to surrender, help me to lose control, show me how to move my body. And I kept going and going and going to these dances, even though it was uncomfortable, so that I could learn to trust my body in that space. And if I could learn to trust and listen to my body in that space, I could learn and trust and listen to my body in other spaces. And then I started to explore what it would be like to work with my body, to touch my body, to hold my body, to hug my body, to use this as an act of self-love and self-pleasure, like to really start to tune into, what does my body desire? Like, what does my body want? If it's in pain, why? What's underneath? What do you want, body? And I started to talk to my body, and I started to have dialogue with my body. I started to converse with my body. What do you want, body? What do you desire? And there were moments where I would deny myself what my body actually wanted. I'd deny it because I think I didn't deserve it, or I wasn't good enough, or I hadn't worked hard enough to receive it. And this is a narrative that I've had to really work on through my liberation, and I'm still working on it, but I'm so much further down my transformation now than I was, because I've been consistently working on undoing the belief that, hey, I only deserve to experience pleasure and joy in my body once I have done the work, once I have cleaned the house, once I have hung up the washing, whatever it may be. And I'm learning to just tune into my body's desires at each moment and be like, what do you actually want? What do you want? Because each time you deny your body what it actually wants, and this is, of course, like within a reason of safety and not harming other people around you, and within making sure that you are safe in the situation. But when you deny your body what it actually wants, you are fragmenting a part of your soul, because you are denying your desires. And your desires are there to be liberated and to be witnessed and acknowledged, not to be shamed. And so learning to really connect with my body through breath work, through embodiment practices, through dance, through movement, through just sitting literally on my bed and placing my hands on my body and saying, what do you desire? What do you want? What do you need right now? And really, when you're talking to your body, you're also talking to your inner child. You're talking to that little girl inside of yourself that perhaps you denied her things, or she was told you can't have this until you've done that. And it's always been this condition. And so the more that you can start to tune in and listen to your body, the more she will offer you wisdom and guidance, the more you can start to get clearer and clearer. Stop comparing yourself to other people and tune into your own frequency and your own energy so that you can stay on your path, on your journey to where you desire to be, because where you desire to be might not be where someone else desires to be. So that was number 2. Number 3, and this is one I've been working on more and more and more recently, is asking myself the question every morning, what does my soul truly desire? And where am I living out of alignment with that? And where am I living in alignment with that? Because it's so easy to get caught up in the Maya, in the matrix, in the illusion that we have to be doing a certain thing, acting a certain way, paying the bills, paying the rent, paying the mortgage, being a certain type of partner to someone, being a certain type of friend to someone, being a certain type of family member to somebody, and being something that maybe doesn't actually necessarily fit with the status quo or doesn't feel right for you. And every time I ask myself what I truly desire, I'm getting clearer and clearer. And what I truly desire has evolved and changed over time, because we are evolving, changing, transforming beings, and nothing is permanent. We live in a world of impermanence. So what we desire in one moment might not be what we desire the next, right? Like one minute you might desire on a simple level. One minute you might desire a cup of tea. You make your cup of tea, you take a sip and you go, actually, I think I prefer some water, right? That's on a basic, simple level, but just tuning in. And it kind of links back to point 2 of listening to your body. Like, what do you actually desire? Every morning I ask myself that question and I write about it. And I notice all the spaces in my life where I'm living out of alignment with that desire. And when you are living out of alignment with your desires, this can really affect you on a very deeply emotionally, spiritually, and physical level. So you might find that when you are living out of alignment with your desires, that you feel lethargic, slow, tired, maybe a bit apathetic, possibly overwhelmed. Maybe you go back into that freeze response because you just don't know where to start. Maybe you shame yourself because you don't know what your desires are, or you don't know how to achieve them, or you don't know where you're going with them. But keep asking yourself the question every day, what does my soul truly desire? Where am I living in alignment with that? And where am I living out of alignment with that? For me, one of the deep desires that I know brings joy to my life is living in a country where there is a lot of sun. So since I moved back to the UK 3 years ago, I've denied myself living in a place where there is a lot of sunshine. And sunshine for me is my battery. It's my energy. I am a solar energy. I very much resonate with the colors orange, yellow, warmth, sun rays. I'm half Middle Eastern. It's in my DNA. It's in my ancestry. And this country, in terms of weather and in terms of the energy that the sun brings me, I don't receive that. So I'm denying myself my soul desire to live somewhere in the sun, or to be somewhere at least most of the year where there is more sunshine. Because to me, that literally lights me up from within. It changes my entire energy, my entire being, my entire auric field. And when I'm in that space, I'm a more creative person. I'm a more flowy person. I feel more alive. I like the way I dress better. I feel more sensual. I feel more connected. I feel more open. And I found, especially this year, with the very few days of sunshine that we've had in the UK, I think we've had like overall maybe 3 weeks of really nice weather in almost 7 months. That is not enough for me. And although I know it, and I've been journaling about this since the winter, it's becoming clearer and clearer and clearer to me that it's no longer serving me. Like, I'm denying myself the type of life that I actually want to live because of the location in which I am. Now, I could sit here and continue to moan about it and complain about it, or I can start to think to myself, okay, well, if this is a true soul desire for me, what can I do to call that into my life? And that's a journey I'm taking right now. What can I do to call more of that into my life? So the more that you start to get clear on your desire, the more you can start to cultivate the clarity around, okay, this is my desire. And then I'm going to start taking aligned, conscious, intentional actions to implement things into my life which bring me closer and closer to my desire, and therefore into my alignment, and therefore my energy and my capability to show up, to serve, to be of service, to commit to whatever it is that I'm doing, because I'm coming from a place that feels true and aligned for me. You know, it could be the same for you if you are in a job that you don't feel truly aligned to, or a relationship that you don't feel truly aligned to, and just keep tuning in like, well, what is my desire? If I desire my partner to hear me, is that something he or she is capable of doing? Or am I just staying stuck in a relationship where they can't actually fulfill my deepest desires? Have you even expressed it to them? Have you told them this is your desire? Have you tuned in to your own desires? I think so many of us don't really tune into our desires, or don't even know what they are, because at school we were never really told, like, what is it that you actually love? What do you enjoy? We'll do more of that. No, you've got to study for your exam. You've got to pass this test. You've got to revise for this. And then we're told it as adults, right? There are certain workplaces or cultures or companies that encourage that sense of, well, what is it that lights you up? What do you want to do more of? What feels good to you? But the majority of workplaces are not really investing in their people in that way. So you have to invest in yourself and ask all day, or every day, sorry, all the time, what does my soul truly desire? And as I said, that might change over time, and that's okay. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to change how you feel. You're allowed to change your desires. You're allowed to change countries. You're allowed to change jobs. You're allowed to change relationships. Like, all of these are possibilities for you. So these are 3 things that I stopped doing. I stopped comparing, or at least I've witnessed it and acknowledged it and have been aware of it, and changing the narrative around comparing. I stopped denying my body and ignoring my body and dismissing it, and started listening to what it actually wants. And I've stopped ignoring my desires, and I've started to tune into them. And all of these things are bringing me to a place of deeper self-love, deeper clarity, and deeper connection with myself. And these are things that I teach through my Liberated Woman one-to-one journey, which I am now going to be turning into a deeper 8-month journey. It was 6 months, but what I've come to realize with the women I'm working with is that this runs so deep that we need longer, we need more integration, we need more time. This is not a journey that's to be rushed. I mean, these things that I'm talking about, this has been over a span of 5 years now that I've been doing this work, and I'm still not exactly where I want to be, but that's okay, because I have compassion for that, because I'm not comparing myself anymore. So during this 8-month journey, the Liberated Woman, I take you through so many processes and give you tools and ways that you can come back into a place of alignment, of clarity, of let's take away the things that are stopping you and blocking you from actually tuning into that thing. And let's start tuning into what you truly desire. Over those 8 months, we start by clearing the debris out, taking the thoughts, the beliefs, the deep held trauma that's stuck at the root. We take it from the root and we start to dig it up slowly, slowly, through breath work, through embodiment practices, through soul work that I give you, through journeys, through meditation, through energy clearing. And it's only around about 3/4 of the way into this journey that we start to actually, Our garden bed is clear. Now we can plant seeds. What is it that you actually desire? What is it that you want? What do you want from your life? And how can you start to actually implement that and create those changes and those transformations? I'm currently enrolling for new one-to-one clients. I have spaces to take on a couple more people. So if you are interested and you are somebody who knows that you want to make change in your life, you want to do the work, you're ready to show up, you're ready to commit to yourself, you're ready to break the chains, to be the cycle breaker, then reach out and book in your chemistry call. It is totally free. You can come and experience what it's like to be in my energy and see if we are a good fit to work together. And I really look forward to taking you on that journey. I hope today's episode has been really helpful for you. I look forward to tuning in again with you next week. Have a beautiful day.